The engineers told him the parachute would deploy too early. They told him the rocket couldn't stabilize in crosswind. They told him Snake River Canyon was a suicide mission wrapped in a publicity stunt. Evel Knievel didn't argue. He just kept walking toward the launch ramp. September 8th, 1974. 40,000 people scattered across the Idaho desert like ants around a wound. They weren't there to watch a man succeed. They were there to watch a man try. The difference mattered to everyone except Evel. ABC had cameras on cranes. Promoters had sold closed-circuit tickets to theaters across the country. The press wrote his obituary 3 weeks in advance, just in case. Evel felt it all pressing down on him. Not support, weight, the kind that makes your jaw tight and your hands shake when no one's looking. He'd spent 2 years building hype for this jump. 2 years of interviews, negotiations, threats and promises. The rocket cost $500,000. The canyon was 1,600 feet across. He couldn't back out. Not because he was brave, because backing out would be worse than dying. His body had been breaking for years. 35 broken bones, fractured pelvis, crushed vertebrae, a coma in 1968 after the Caesars Palace fountain jump went wrong. He still couldn't straighten his left leg all the way. His doctor told him one more bad crash would put him in a wheelchair. Evel didn't stop jumping. He just started drinking more before each one. Because if you stop, people forget. And if people forget, you're nobody. The Skycycle X2 sat on the ramp like a bomb with handlebars.
It wasn't a motorcycle.
It was a steam-powered rocket with a seat bolted on top. No test flights. No abort system. No second chances. The engineers had done the math. Thrust, trajectory, wind speed, parachute timing. But math doesn't account for panic. It doesn't account for a man realizing mid-flight that he's made a terrible mistake. Evel climbed into the cockpit. The crowd went silent. Cameras zoomed in. Sponsors held their breath. He strapped himself in. The countdown started. 10. His heart hammered against his ribs. 9. He could smell his own sweat mixing with rocket fuel. 8. His hands gripped the handlebars so tight his knuckles went white. 7. Hesitating, this was the moment he could still stop. 6. Oh, he didn't. He didn't. If Joel Underman's hair.
5.
Badsy.
The noise around him became a roar. 4.
His vision narrowed. 3. Everything slowed. 2. Moved. He thought about his kids. 1. The world exploded. The Skycycle shot forward. Up, not up. Forward. Then up. Too fast. Too violent. Too wrong. The steam engine screamed. The frame rattled. Anxious, Evel's head snapped back as the G-force crushed him into the seat. He wasn't controlling anything anymore. He was cargo. The rocket climbed, then something gave. And the drogue parachute ripped open early, exactly what the engineers warned about, and the Skycycle jerked sideways mid-ascent. Panicked, Evel felt his stomach drop. The rocket stalled. Hesitating, for one horrible second, it hung in the air. Then it started falling, not forward, down. Straight down toward the Snake River.
Silence.
Dust everywhere. The parachute tangled in the wind, dragging the Skycycle sideways as it plummeted. It missed the far side of the canyon by 600 feet. The rocket hit the canyon wall.
Bounced.
Tumbled. Painful. Slid down the rocky slope like a broken toy. Then stopped. Then stopped. At 20 feet, from the river. The crowd didn't cheer. The crowd didn't cheer. They didn't scream. They just stared. Ambulances rolled down into the canyon. It took 15 minutes to reach him. When they pulled Evel out, he was conscious. Painful, bleeding from his nose. Cristiano, painful. Ribs broken. But alive. He looked up at the rim of the canyon, at the 40,000 people watching. Moved, and he smiled. He's not because he was happy, because he'd survived long enough to jump again. Evel Knievel never made it across Snake River Canyon. The jump was a failure by every technical measure, but it was broadcast to millions. Serious. It made headlines for weeks. It cemented his name in history. He kept jumping for another 7 years. Painful, more crashes. Painful, more broken bones. More close calls. In 1977, he shattered his pelvis again and finally stopped.
Not because he wanted to.
Because his body gave out. People called him a daredevil. A showman. A madman. But those words missed the point. Evel Knievel wasn't chasing glory. He was chasing the only thing that made him feel real. The risk. The noise. The edge. He couldn't stop. Not because he was fearless, because stopping meant disappearing. Disappearing. I know. And disappearing was the one thing he feared most. The question isn't why he jumped. Timon. It's why he couldn't walk away. And maybe he never knew the answer either.